One of my favorite YouTubers is Alex. I think he's great, and he was doing a series on dry pasta, and some of that dry pasta he recommended from Italy is big bucks. Hey friends, my name is George Gianaris. I'm a chef of 37 years, and if you're here, it's because you like to eat healthy, save money, and cook like a pro. This channel is all about quality ingredients, and I believe that if you put cheap ingredients in your body now, you may save some money now, but your health could be compromised and you'll be paying the price later. However, that doesn't mean that all expensive products are worth the money. I wanted to see if I could taste the difference between an expensive pasta and an inexpensive one. How does a $10 pack of pasta compare to a $2 pack? I needed to get my hands on some quality Italian pasta, so I took a trip to Italy in Boston to pick up some of the finest spaghetti Italy has to offer. The spaghetti sold at Italy range from about $2.50 to $8.50 for a 500-gram pack, or about 17.5 ounces. The one that Alex raved about was a brand known as Mono Grano, and they were completely out of stock of this spaghetti. Thanks a lot, Alex. But I was able to buy some from Amazon at a whopping $13.78 per package. They are the brand of pasta one would find served in a Michelin star restaurant. Super revered, each type of spaghetti is sourced from one specific grain of organic wheat flour, hence the name Mono Grano. So I needed to set up a few guidelines so that the taste test would be fair and unbiased. Why a blind test? Because I don't want to be influenced by this highly regarded brand of pasta. To keep the playing field level, all of the spaghetti that I purchased had to be 100% durum wheat semolina flour. Not all of the spaghettis in this roundup are 100% organic. I wanted to see if an organic spaghetti would stand out or not. I also wanted to choose spaghetti that could be purchased in a supermarket or on Amazon. Believe it or not, I've never tried any of these spaghettis, even up until today. The only brand that I'm familiar with is this one. This is Bio Nature, but I've only had the gluten-free version, and I have come across this one here, Garofalo, because they sell it at Costco, but I've never tried the spaghetti. I labeled each one of these baskets with a tag from 1 to 8. Maria is randomly labeling each bag of spaghetti from 1 to 8 as well while I walk away. She's putting the corresponding spaghetti in each of the corresponding labeled classes, 1 to 8. I'm going to cook all 8 spaghetti brands in one pot, seasoned with a little salt, and that's it. All the spaghetti is cooked al dente. I want to see if there's a difference in flavor in each pasta. Some of these pasta manufacturers claim that there are hints of nuttiness and various flavors in the wheat that they've chosen. I'm going to see if I can taste that when I'm having this spaghetti plain. I also want to see which spaghetti has the best mouthfeel and texture. Most of the brands chosen proudly advertise on the packaging that they were shaped with bronze dies. And after a little research online, well, all of these use bronze dies. Forming pasta through a bronze die creates a unique texture on the pasta, and it helps for the sauce to adhere to the pasta better, which is supposed to enhance the flavor. Ronzoni has a separate line of pasta called Thick and Hearty. They advertise that the pasta is cut using bronze dies. It hugs your pasta sauce instead of leaving it behind. This pack of Ronzoni is not bronze cut. Is there an actual difference in the texture? It's really hard to tell with the naked eye. Bronze cut spaghettis have a chalky texture. The Ronzoni does not. Let's take a look under a microscope. All right. So that's the Ronzoni, and let's see what this other one has to say for itself here. The difference is completely dramatic. I mean, there's so much more texture on this. So I went back and I tried to decipher my notes because everything got covered with tomato sauce, and I went back and I put everything in a spreadsheet. I still don't know which number correlates to which pasta yet. I haven't gone through that. We're going to do that together right now. What I did was I weighed this fork. It was 51 grams. I took a bowl. I put a store-bought tomato sauce into the bowl, put it on the scale, and I zeroed it. Then I took the fork. I twirled it in the spaghetti, then I put it in the sauce with the fork, got a number, subtracted the weight of the fork from that number to give me the amount of pasta I put in the sauce. Then I made sure that I took all of the pasta out, waited for it to drip a couple times until there was no more drip. And that's how I determined how much sauce came out from the bowl, and I came up with a ratio for that. First of all, they're all very good pastas. A couple of them were not that great. So I'm gonna go through the ones I didn't like first. The first one that I did not like happened to be the first one that I tasted. I gave the mouthfeel on a scale from 1 to 10, I gave it a 6. It just didn't, it was kind of mushy. It didn't have, even al dente, it had like almost like a starchiness to it. Springiness was a 5, it wasn't very springy. It was a plain pasta and it was quite bland. The weight of the pasta was 24 grams, but it did manage to pull 20 grams of sauce out of it. And it is a die cut pasta, and you can see it under the microscope that there is a lot more texture on it than the Ronzoni, which is not die cut. The ratio was 0.83, and with the sauce, I tasted it on a scale of 1 to 10. I just kind of gave it a flavor of 6. I didn't feel that any pasta came through. So number 1 is the Garofalo. Kind of surprised because they usually put out a decent pasta. Wasn't very fond of it. The second one that I didn't really care for was number 4. Again, a mouthfeel of a 6. It just didn't have any kind of unique texture. It was flat. It was a little more springy, a 7 out of 10, but it had a strong iron flavor. I didn't particularly care for that flavor. The weight of the pasta going in was 19 grams. The weight of the sauce coming out was 11, so it didn't hold that much. The ratio was 0.57 or 58%. 578. But it tasted better with the sauce, believe it or not. It had a little bit more character, so I gave that an 8 out of 10, and that was number 4. And number 4 was Lydia's, which happens to be the least expensive one. Lydia's is $2.50. Remember that. And let's see, the Garofalo was $3.20. So these are the 2 least expensive pastas, which is interesting. Now I'm going to give you the top 3, the 3 that I absolutely loved. And then they were really close with the rest, okay? So it's just like splitting hairs a little bit. So number 3 happened to be spaghetti numbered 6. Mouthfeel was a 9 out of 10. Really excellent mouthfeel. It was kind of like, it just was a pleasure to chew on, and it had good springiness. I gave it an 8. It was sweet. It had an interesting mineral pop. Not strong though, definitely enjoyable. And with the sauce, I gave it a 9 out of 10. So that was really good. 19 grams of pasta went in, 16 grams of sauce came out. So that was a 0.84, which is a little bit higher than the other ones. So it retained the sauce a little bit better. And that was spaghetti number 6, which is Rigorosa. I liked it very much. So Rigorosa was $5.50. Doesn't break the bank. It was a really excellent pasta. All right, my second favorite. Okay, my second favorite was spaghetti number 7. Mouthfeel, 9 out of 10. Really good mouthfeel. Springiness, 9 out of 10. Excellent. Had a delicate flavor. It was different than the other pastas that I had. It had a higher minerality, but not strong, and it stood out from the rest. It was really delicious. The interesting thing about this, though, the weight of the pasta that went in was 16 grams, and the weight of the sauce that came out was 12. And that was only a 0.75, which kind of low. It was really interesting. But with the sauce, this thing exploded. It tasted really, it had a whole new character. It almost felt like I had eaten a completely different sauce, and it was excellent. So that was number 7, and number 7, this is my second favorite. The Montegrano, the high-end, super delicious pasta from that usually you find in Michelin star restaurants. This I purchased on Amazon on $13.48. Had it been available in Italy, it was only $5.90. So I got ripped off. Sometimes Amazon's not the cheapest, but this was number 2 out of my favorite. I've really enjoyed that a lot.
Before we announce number 1.
The other ones here, 3 was 7 out of 7 on the mouthfeel, 7 out of 7 out of the springiness. Had strong semolina flavor, and it had 23 grams of pasta going in, 15 grams of sauce coming out, 0.65. With the sauce, I rated it 8. It was kind of like a little bit of a mediocre pasta. That was number 3, Pastel di Gragnano. The most expensive one at Italy at $8.50. I don't recommend it. It wasn't really that great. Number 5 here, a Feltra. Mouthfeel was an 8. Springiness was an 8. It was dense, sweet, had a little hint of farina flavor. 18 grams of sauce going in, 18 grams of pasta going in, 15 grams of sauce coming out. Again, 0.833. Typical flavor with the sauce. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Nothing too awesome. I think I remember that. Yeah, this is kind of almost like an unfair comparison because the Feltra is the only spaghetti here, unless I bought something that's not spaghetti. I'm pretty sure it was spaghetti. I could be wrong. It's square. I've never had a square pasta, so it's not a round spaghetti. It may very well be a different type of spaghetti. If you know what this may be called, it doesn't really say anything on here. I mean, I can't read Italian either, but the price of this one, the Feltra, was $7.50, so it was also very expensive. Theoretically, well, realistically, more expensive than the Monograno, which is rated to be number 1. Not the greatest. It was kind of mediocre. Number 8 was the Bio Nature. Again, an 8 on the mouthfeel, 8 on the springiness. It's a little more dense, slightly earthy. 18 grams of pasta coming in, interesting. 19 grams of sauce coming out. And I did that twice because I was like, wow, that's a lot of sauce. So it actually has more sauce on it than pasta by weight. Very interesting. Again, with the sauce, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Not a bad pasta. It's organic, mediocre like the rest, nothing spectacular, but it's also a lot less expensive. On Amazon, it's like $4, but in the supermarket, it's like $2 or $3 and change, something like that. So not a bad alternative. If you can't go to Italy and pick out some of these other pastas, you can get this one from the supermarket. It's pretty decent. And finally, my favorite pasta out of all of them was number 2. Mouthfeel, 9 out of 10. Springiness, 9 out of 10. It had a rich flavor. It was a little slippery. It had you could taste wheat, almost like bread without yeast. Very strong, but enjoyable. The weight of the pasta that went in was 24 grams. The weight with the sauce that came out was 20 grams, 0.833. So it held sauce really, really well. With the sauce, it was a 9 out of 10. Again, really delicious with the sauce. It just expanded the flavors in the sauce. Not quite like the Monograna, but really, really good. So this is my favorite, and this is the Mancini Pastificio Agricolo. These two, the Mancini Pastificio Agricolo and the Monograno, really, really stood out to me as excellent pastas. The Mancini pasta was $6.50. So $6.50 and $5.50 at Italy. More like double the price of your typical pasta, but not bad. But let's talk about the Ronzoni now. The Ronzoni was the last one here, and this one is not 100% durum wheat. It's semolina wheat, durum flour, and it's enriched, which kind of turns me off. But if you see, like under the microscope, it's got absolutely no structure whatsoever. It's kind of flat, has no dimension. The mouthfeel's not that great. It's like a 6 out of 10. The springiness is like a 7 out of 10. But you know, it wasn't so bad with the sauce. I gave it a 7 out of 10 with the sauce. There was 23 grams of pasta that went in, 17 grams of sauce came out, which was surprising. I thought that it would barely hold any, but it wasn't the case at all. So the ratio of that was 0.73. It was kind of mediocre. And of course, you can buy this in America, nationwide, everywhere. I don't recommend you have enriched pastas. Go with a single grain pasta, or at least go with a pasta that is 100% semolina or 100% durum wheat. Have you had any experience with these pastas? I would like to know. Leave a comment down below. I appreciate you hitting that like button if you actually like the video, because it helps this channel to grow. And I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again really soon.